Anyways, speaking of better,
I'm going to assume that was a joke, but we'll talk about it.
okay. So we're moving on to Stuck from 2007, which, as I was saying earlier, is, I believe it's the last movie that Stuart Gordon ever directed, as he did pass away earlier this year. And Stuck is just, it's about one person's shit day colliding with another. I mean, the story, it's a story of a man who gets struck by a car and he's stuck inside the windshield of this young lady's car, and she refuses to help the guy because even though he was jaywalking at the time, she had taken some ecstasy before leaving the club, and I guess she's afraid of what could happen from that. He gets more pissed because she won't help him. She gets more pissed because he keeps trying to escape from her garage. And then eventually, stuff happens. The funny thing is, this movie opens with a scene in a nursing home. It's just got old people playing boring board games or just doing whatever old people do, and they got this like gangster rap playing over it. That was quite amusing. Anytime you see gangster rap being played over a nursery home scene, that usually alludes to something enjoyable. And I thought this movie was enjoyable. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. It's a pretty simple thing, but once again, like Wrong Turn, it's a movie that kind of knows its runtime. It's pretty short. I think it only got to somewhere around the 80-minute mark. But I found it mildly suspenseful. It was an entertaining movie. So it sounds like you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. What do you think of this?
Well, yeah. So for one, no, I'm not going to even try to pronounce her name, but the lead actress,
Mina Savari.
Yeah. For those who may not know, and I recognized her immediately, but she is one of the girls from American Pie, which I sort of like. That was I didn't know that going in. I've never seen this before, so it's always nice to see a face that you know. But she played one of the most unlikable characters I've seen in my life. She starts out fine. Anybody who's in that type of job, caring for elderly people, that takes a dedication that not everybody has. So, I mean, I feel like those people should get all the respect in the world. But it seems pretty obvious to me that she's just doing this to sort of, I don't know, for herself, supposed to help the people. And just her reaction after she, hits hits this guy, it's just appalling. And this is based somewhat off a actual event. Movie changes things drastically, as movies usually do. But her character annoyed the hell out of me. I thought maybe she might redeem herself in some way, toward the second half of the movie, but it never happens. I mean, she just gets really batshit crazy. And it's interesting because, like I said, never seen this movie before. Wasn't sure where it was going, but then like 50, maybe 60 minutes later, he's toiling in the garage. I'm like, oh god, because I mean, for most of the movie, we're just following the lead woman and her boyfriend / not boyfriend after what happened. And I didn't find much of that interesting. It's possibly because she seems so far removed from how I feel like most people would react to a situation like that. I mean, see, I guess I should say I didn't even hate the movie. It just was. I was watching it. It was like fine. It's not like I had a deeply negative reaction to it. I mean, there was a few amusing scenes. I like the black boyfriend. He was sort of funny, but nothing happened that really got me like, oh hey, this is actually really good, or hey, this is definitely worth watching. It just was, which is somewhat disappointing.
Okay. Well, I think this one is enjoyed somewhat by most people. I mean, it's got a 6 point something out of 10 on IMDb, which is a respectable rating. Yeah, I found the movie entertaining, trying to figure out what's going to happen next, and how many other movies are there about a guy stuck in a car windshield? I mean, I can't think of any. So it's unique in that regard.
That's true, but then you have to ask how many movies should there be about a guy stuck in a car window.
I don't know. After seeing this one, I might wonder a few more.
And actually, that reminds me. So There's a scene somewhat early on when the guy's honking the horn, then the woman comes and sort of knocks him out, and then takes her taxi to her workplace. And then once the guy wakes up, he doesn't immediately go back to honking the horn, which I thought would be like the first thing I would do. He does try to get to a cell phone, which, that makes sense, it's fine. Which is, that scene itself is, somewhat suspenseful, like, hey, can he reach it? It's fine. To be clear, it's a very tragic situation to be in. I was sort of thinking, hey, what would I do in that situation? I'll probably go back to the, horn. Just keep doing that as long as you can, and hopefully nobody knocks you out.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is technically dying, I guess, so,
No, I mean, that's it. I think windshield wiper impaired him, it looked like. That's pretty painful.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can only do something for so long, I guess. Plus, I mean, in terms of a movie, maybe at some point he did honk it again, but, the movie's just trying to move along. Okay, let's show the audience something new, something different, so let's go to the cell phone. But, by the way, I think she said the battery died, and I'm like, oh, I mean, one of those old Nokias or whatever, they'd stay charged for weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
my phone right now, I can barely keep it charged for a day.
I mean, I still use a flip phone, and yeah, it keeps its charge for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have one of those flip phones too. Yeah, they last. So a bit surprising that one died. Bit of bad luck, but then again, he's having a lot of bad luck that day.
I mean, talk about a shitty day.
Well, it's shitty 2 days, really, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a disappointing time. Even when he's like just trying to get a little sleep on the park bench, of course. If I was him, I would have gone a little deeper into the park, not just like right near the gate. But I get it. But yeah, it's I do like how they did it, throw him under the bus, toward the end of the movie. Some movies might have him make it out, but like, oh look what this guy did to this innocent woman. But
Yeah.
that does not look like the direction this movie goes in, which I did appreciate.
Well, they never really get to that point. I mean,
That's true, but I especially once the Latino family sort of helps him up, they're definitely going to, I think, back him up. Like, hey, they did see this guy in the car, especially the mother. If it was just a kid, that'd be one thing, but even the mother saw him, so I feel like guy's probably going to be okay.
the funny thing is, at the beginning of the movie, he's kind of wondering where he's going to spend the night. I guess he found a place to spend the night, in someone's garage.
So are you saying you should be careful what you ask for?
Yeah, in a way. Another scene, towards the beginning, he goes to what he thinks is like a job interview. It seems to be more of an employment services type place, who, you're not really interviewing for a job, they're just helping you find a job, I guess. And I mean, I've been in those type of places when I was really young, and I think a lot of people have, but they're really annoying places to deal with at times, and you can see why in this movie. He fills out this form, he gets this interview at 1 p.m. By about 4:30 p.m., he finally gets to speak to someone, and they're basically like, just go back and fill out the form you've already filled out. And I feel like that that guy working there, like, he was just saying that because it's 4:30. Fuck it, I can't be. I couldn't be bothered talking to anyone right now. Let's just figure out a way to get this guy out of the office. You're not in the computer, man. Yeah, they can just be really annoying to deal with. We had one of the biggest ones in Australia at the time, at least when I was, around that early adult age looking for work. They're called Mission Australia, but I would call them Mission Impossible. Because every time you go in there, it's just like the same old routine. I guess I should say, I did get one job from them once, which did actually last a few years, but usually they just give you stuff that lasts for 10 days, and, it's not a great place to...
Hey, at least you get something.
Yeah, I guess, but, sometimes the jobs you get there, not only are they not worth your time, sometimes they make you regret going in the first place. But anyways, moving back to this movie... I think we're both in agreement that the worst thing that Mina Savari's character does in the movie is steal the newspaper from the neighbor.
That's probably not the direction I'd go, but it certainly is sort of a dick move.
Was that the Latino family's house? I'm not sure, but
Oh, I actually don't know.
it seemed to be from the house on the right, which I'm sure was their house. I believe they lived next door, or at least they lived very close by. So, I don't know, it's something about that. You know, she's like a normal person, you know, she's got a regular job, and she kind of made a mistake one night where, you know, it's obviously affected someone greatly, and now she's got a fear of going to jail or something like that, and which I'm sure a lot of normal people out there would have a similar type of feeling. And obviously she does a lot of bad things. She goes about it in the wrong way. But we can kind of see why. But of course, you know, by the end of the movie, it's a bit of a calmer moment where, you know, he gives her the opportunity. Well, you know, this is a bit of a spoiler, but once he's kind of out and it seems like he's flipped the table on her, he could have just burned her alive, and then he chooses not to and just leave her, so technically maybe not help her, but he doesn't kill her when he could have, because that's what they were trying to do to him. And yeah, it backfires on her when she goes to shoot him, obviously, but at that point I guess you could kind of say, okay, now she's a bad person, but I think throughout the majority of the movie she's just a regular person, you know, just like everyone else who made some terrible decisions.
Yeah, I think as soon as you hit somebody, you know you hit somebody, and you guys on your halfway in your car and you just keep going. At that point, you sort of cross the horizon. You are officially probably not a good person. And that scene though where she's driving right by the police, and of course the racists that are going after the black homeless guy. That was just a beautiful scene, indictment on the police of this country.
I'm so surprised he didn't shoot her like when he first gets out of that garage, because I mean he's already stabbed the boyfriend in the eye. Like he's already killed one guy. I mean, you might as well kill her too. I mean, so I'm kind of surprised he didn't at that point. But, you know, he's just too nice, I guess. It's mainly because when he kills the boyfriend, like stabs him in the eye, he doesn't just stab him in the eye to get away. He stabs him in the eye and then he goes up even further and presses it in. I don't think it was probably all that necessary, but
I mean, at that point, like, who can really blame him? I mean, it's just
yeah. But I'm just saying, if you're going to kill someone like that, I mean, surely you could have shot her outside. Maybe it wouldn't have looked good, but I'm just kind of surprised he didn't at that point, based on everything he's gone through.
Maybe he is a bigger man than both of us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed this movie well enough. I almost wanted to give it an 8, but I just can't go that far. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It was a movie from start to finish. I was completely engaged in it. Like I was saying, it's another one of those movies that kind of knows its runtime. It is about 80 minutes. It didn't have any scenes where I just felt like nothing was happening. There was always something happening, even though the guy's stuck in a windshield. So, yeah, I was quite impressed with what they could do with such a simple type of movie where, you know, technically there's not much place to go. Anyways, I have a feeling that Jiggy here wants to go poo-poo on this movie.
Oh, see, actually, the thing is not so much. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think it's a particularly good movie, but I don't think it's like atrocious. I think the movie knew what it was going for, and you know, for those of people who enjoy this type of movie, it's fine. So, I mean, I think it's a below average movie, but I'm just giving this a 6 out of 10. It's not like I hated it. I was pretty indifferent through a lot of it, and there were some funny moments, like I said, some okay characters, but just most of the movie you're following is completely unlikable woman. And the ending's somewhat satisfying, but you have to get there. Even if it's a shorter movie, you still have to get there. So I mean, I think a 6 out of 10. That's not like overly terrible. So it's an okay movie, just not necessarily my type of movie.
Well, just for everyone else out there listening, just know that we had just reviewed Ginger Snaps 2, and Jiggy here gave it a 7. So please feel free to shit on him in the comments, because there's no way this movie is worse than Ginger Snaps 2. No way at all.
And if it makes it any easier for people to shit on me, the 1980 The Shining is terribly overrated, and it's definitely not that good of a movie.
Wow, look, I don't love that movie either, but I probably enjoy it a bit more than you do.
Ginger Snaps 2 is about the movie than The Shining.
No, but
there you go. I'm just making it easy for people.